Evening, it's Quant Trade Edge, and today I wanted to go over crude oil, among other things. The video I put up the other day about the crude outside up follow-up day, we had a question here about crude, daily CL with today's down move, maybe a bear flag, will it go lower? If it can't pass these daily support, if these daily supports can't hold. My response was simple. It's a 2B sell below 73.13. And that actually played out today. So this here is a daily chart of crude oil. And you can see there's a nice little channel here. And this is a pretty flat 200 SMA. And we had two legs up here. Oops, it's the wrong tool. We had this leg up here, and then one leg down. Let me blow this up to make it very clear. And then we had this leg up. So we finished our two legs up. This kind of came in at the channel resistance at the 200 SMA, and then we had an inside day. But what makes this a 2B, these are all niceties to have, a channel, a 200 SMA, two legs complete. But what makes this a 2B, let's take this 200 out of there. What makes this a 2B is very simple. A few days after this high, you had a new high and you had a close above. This close was 75.43. This high was 75.37. So this closed above this level. And when you take out the low of that, your 2B is triggered. And the low of that was 73.13. That's where my comment came from. Now today, there was a 4X play when that happened. So that happened here at 4:15 in the morning. And off of that move, we had a classic 4X trade where we had an A, a B, and then this is all a hoagie here. So the C is on that pop there, which is also an outside bar. That takes a little bit of interpretation because technically an outside bar takes the label of the previous bar. So let's look at this very, very technically. Let me put the Gann counter on it. Again down. Leg up, leg down. And okay, this was a leg up at 73.35. Okay, so technically this was part of the hoagie. So this did require a little bit of interpretation here. But this is the trade that I took. And using this risk bar, and and if you look all the way over here, it got to within one tick. So this high was 73.41. This was 73.40. I remember that because I was in the trade and sweating it at this point. So this here, 13.2652 cents, 72.76. That was 4X. And I remember that came and it bounced back quickly. So I took profit here mainly because it's EIA day. So EIA is usually on Wednesday, but because of the holiday, we were getting the inventory number on Thursday, today. And I don't like to take on any kind of position ahead of that news. And I even mentioned that in our chat that that's the one thing standing in the way of this being a wonderful trade is just that we have EIA. We got to get that out of the way. So if you look at what happened, this trade would have later taken out that stop if you didn't get out at 4R. And you kind of went higher, 8 o'clock is the pit open. So you tested up there, came down, tested up against it again at 9 o'clock. And then lo and behold, at 10 o'clock on the news, you just spiked up there and had this little thing and then rolled over. So really what the news served to do was trap any shorts who were rightly short and get them out. And we came back down here. And so I was essentially waiting for some sort of spike and test of this area to just get the news out of the way and then allow the market to do what the 2B pattern says that it should do, which is go lower. Being a holiday and all, I'd already left to go play with the kids and whatnot, but I did notice when it broke down here and retested up here. So I was able to get back in around here to play for a bigger move for the 2B pattern. What I'm doing now, and I took that off towards here, and then I noticed here that this was a penny off. This was 71.72, 71.73, and then now here we just had a new low, but then kind of a quick recovery. So I want to give this some space to play out, and mainly because now that we are on the day after EIA, we kind of links back to that video that I said about how to trade crude on Thursdays. Well, today it would really be a Friday just because of the EIA having come out a day late. So let's highlight the EIA bar. This was the EIA bar. So I just feel like there can be a better retracement up, towards this resistance zone. That resistance zone is at 73.18. May not get there. Maybe somewhere in this area here. But I would rather layer into shorts on the way up here, expecting this EIA zone to hold as resistance. And then really on the daily, I don't see what's holding us back from, at the very least, getting into this final pocket, which is 70.14. So I think that's sort of a target that I would expect. It could actually be a lot lower. There's nothing to say that, there's nothing that's really bullish about this structure. It's all pretty bearish now that the 2B has kicked in. It's just a matter of whether we get a nice little pop first before puking, because again, we would expect this to play out in two waves as well. So right now we're on the first wave. If we get a second wave here and down, that would be more ideal. It could just go straight down and I might miss it, but I'm not afraid to miss a trade. Just want to make sure when I get into one that I like it and want to be in it. So that's crude, and then I wanted to just point out something on copper. So when we broke out of this 4-day hoagie, and put up that 4x video, how this one hit the 4x target, but there was something really interesting at the end of the day, because I was watching it and I was I'd gotten out at 4x and I was sitting around wondering, this is a 4-day hoagie, is it going to go a lot further? Should I have a runner on? And I was just contemplating all those things when I noticed, and I believe the 4x hit at exactly the high of this bar, 396.30 is where the 4x hit. And we went up and made this high. And then a few bars later, close above it, and then take out the low. What do we see here? That is a 2B sell, textbook 2B sell. So that allayed my FOMO of having gotten out at at this level at the 4x. And if you play this across as your risk bar, that risk bar was 60 ticks wide, 96.80. And here I'll just move to a 30-minute just so you can see more of how this played out. Look at the amazing risk reward. This would have taken an extra day, but gotten over 550 off of 60 risk, so that's like 9R from there to there. And this was on an intraday 2B pattern. So again, keep an eye out on these 2B patterns. Dailies obviously are great. And here's a funny one. This is just the move up into the 8 p.m. tonight. There's a 2B again. When you take this out, that's also a 2B. But The main one came on the day of the breakout, so really to me this is more of a failed breakout now. So if we had a hoagie that broke, it should not have wanted to go all the way back in that far. So we'll see how that plays out. But keep an eye out for these 2B patterns. They are pretty powerful.